That's for now.
Find teas.
I think we've got enough to keep ourselves busy.
Right. So you'll be getting Martin back to work soon?
He is back.
Oh, he is back.
He is back at work.
Oh, he's able to.
Yeah. He's working again. Oh, I'm on Wi-Fi.
I thought.
Wi-Fi companies. Because otherwise I can't do Teams and I can't. Well, I can record minutes, but I can't do anything. Getting on to. So I took the Teams link, but I need the Wi-Fi.
I was going to say, are we allowed to use the Wi-Fi here? I was thinking that in terms of it's quite important if we're higher in the hall, we do need access to Wi-Fi.
I don't honestly know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I can't
do the Teams.
No.
Can't do the Teams link.
No, you can tether from my phone, but
Can you click on that? Right. Oh, okay. There's guest one. St Mary's. And then I need password. This is what I think it is. Okay. Very good. I will pull back. Pull them back. Pull them back. You just have to pull them. Chris, you just have to pull them. No, it's broke. 2 hours. Pull them. No, you just pull them. No, the other way. I might have done it on tape. I might have done it on tape.
Sorry, we're just doing it. Right. Fair enough. Just let Alan sit down and we'll start. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the extraordinary meeting this evening. Thank you. Very quiet. We're just to let people know that we're recording. We're experimenting tonight with some new tech. The hope is that we'll be putting it onto YouTube as well and distributing it after the meetings in the same way that I certainly started to do before I was chairman, just so that we can share it with the village, because we've had a number of people that have been inquiring with us saying we can't necessarily get to meetings, but we'd really like to actually take part. So we're experimenting, we'll see if we get it better. We've got 2 microphones as well here recording, so the sound on the video should be significantly better. So to kick off, first of all, apologies for absence. Currently don't have any. So we will...
Well, who's apologising?
Sorry,
Terry.
Just Terry. The next one to move on to 2673 is declarations of interest. So if I just go round, that would be great. Lisa, can I start with you?
Yeah, I have I can't remember what Amy used to call it. It was an interest in the judicial review, but I can't remember what she used to call it, I guess.
Okay.
Well, it's a pecuniary
interest, but she used to call it something about it was either registerable, but yeah,
it's pecuniary,
yeah.
because because there's money involved.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't have any.
None for me either.
I believe we have some invoices for the school, and I work at the school.
None. Thank you. 2674, public questions. As far as I'm aware, we haven't received.
No.
So I'm very happy to now open up the 15-minute slot to the public. Just ask that you raise your hand and we will hopefully get to everyone as they are. Jackie.
Okay. Do you want me to stand up? Because I'm going to block the recording.
If, no, you don't have to stand. No, we're happy for you to sit down.
Okay, good evening. I live on Dunlow Road, as some of you know. Been there for 26 years. And my main moan, which has always been my moan, and I've brought it to the parish council in those 26 years since I've been here, is the speed and the traffic. The volume of traffic, which I know we can't control, but the speed is just beyond a joke. It's, nobody takes any notice of the speed limit. And as you come southbound to Dunlow Road, when you hit the white gate and the speed sign, you should be doing 30. But I would suggest you need to be doing less because you can't see around the bend, you can't see around the Fox Cottage, and if you're trying to get off the drive, I had one actually today, and the guy had to stand on his brakes and to hit me because he was coming much too fast, 50 miles an hour. So as you know, Chairman, I've been involved with the speed watch over the years, going back to David Smith days, and it's just there's just nothing's happening. So anyway, I've addressed this with the parish council. I sent an email to the parish council earlier this year, and I copied in Susan Barker, who I had long conversations with about it as well, and also Essex Police, who are in charge of highways. So they actually took it seriously, and they said that they would come and do a survey, which they did. I think it was about April time, and they came back to me and said, yeah, there's definitely a need for speed reduction in Dunlow Road. Okay. That might have been the time when the clerk hasn't been around, I don't know, but that email that the police sent me, I thought it belonged to the clerk. Susan Barker seems to think that B183 A is B road and is the M11 B road, but that's rubbish, it's not. And the other argument I've had is that you can't have traffic calming measures or speed cameras on a B road. Well, everyone knows if you drive from Taken to Junction 8, there's cameras and there's width restrictions. So, that's not an argument you can't have traffic calming on a B road. It's ridiculous. And I am quite aware of what's going on the highway code, so I do catch up with things. So, when I've done speed watch, we've done it in Hammond's Road and we've done it on Phillips Hill. And it's just crazy when you see, you've got to know this, when you see speed, for example, Phillips Hill, when you see on the school run, people coming into the village with children in the car, it's just a joke. One woman was overtaken on the bend on top of Phillips Hill. It needs something done. I was also told that someone's going to have to die before something's happening. To me, that's not an argument. Trying to cross the road from Dunlow Road towards the Dukes, you can't. Again, you can't see around the hedgerows, you can't see up Dunlow Road. You've got a very slim one pavement down that road on the eastern side. My neighbours, most of them are elderly, they won't walk down the road because they can't, it's too narrow. Lorries come past and you have to jump into the driveway. It's just ridiculous. They're causing damage to the roads, they're breaking the drain covers, and Clive Ticehurst did a presentation to the parish council and it was cancelled, so he hasn't actually done it, but he was the latest coordination for speed watch, and he's now got his house on the market. It is just driving people crazy, and that's all I need to say really. So if there's any joined up thinking that can be done with the parish council and the powers that be, it needs to be done because the quality of life down there, especially when there is a problem on the M11, and it just goes incessantly all night. It's just like zoom, zoom all night. It's ridiculous.
Can I make a point on that? We've got 3 new councillors joining us. Can we not see if somebody will champion this and take it forward as a single person?
Susan Smith when she was around.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that Susan used to do a lot of work on this. but one of our new councillors, perhaps we can persuade them to take this on board. I mean, Broad should be at 20 mile an hour zone, the whole thing. And let's see what we can do.
Yeah, and the VAS in Dunbar Road, 9 times out of 10 is not working anymore, it's not efficient. And Susan Barker again closed for the parish council to do something about that. And everyone's just banging all over the place, which is why I did a 3-day email to everyone. And as I say, the police have actually said that there is a need for traffic calming.
Well, let's take it away.
Can I?
Yeah, please do.
I know that there's speed issues. Before we had the preset for this year, I did propose that we got that camera, that VAS repaired. I think it was cleaned and it seemed to be working again, but it's now intermittent. Is it?
It will never say something else anyway. I can sit at my window and watch it going on all day.
Because we know that we need one on Hammond Road. We managed to get the one with Susan Barker's help on Feathers Hill replaced. So that is something that I as a councillor have been aware of and been hoping to get to grips with as we go through this year. So, and I am aware that there is a PCSO that we have got links with now that we can get in touch with. So that is another avenue that we can explore. But
it used to be a camera.
yeah, I know.
Sorry, just
to add on Jax's point, I think that, you know, often I've sat here at parish council meetings and listened to it's highways, which of course it is highways to a degree, but I think that what would be great as a new council would be maybe for us to look as a village, because it's only going to get worse with the airport going up to 40 million, is that if Hatfield or parish council could champion a Hatfield Broadout traffic and road safety plan that people who have got all this experience can add to, rather than just perhaps getting one councillor to champion it, because I think it's something that's going to come up and up and up. Another 100 houses in the village coming, it's going to get worse, and the whole thing of parking on pavement. You know, I think a proper plan for the village would be a great thing for a parish council.
I agree.
At the time when we looked into it, the cameras are approximately, I call them cameras, they're VS, approximately £6,000 each. And at that moment in time, council didn't have a budget to put that forward. However, it is something that I am very keen to pursue, and I think we've got a highways working group that's ready or about to hopefully meet. Everything, as you know, has been slightly delayed, but it's good to hear that it's not, you know, it's everybody's thinking that way. So if we can get movement somehow to bring that into fruition, that would be great.
Quite interesting that there is a known long-standing dissatisfaction between Hertfordshire and Essex county councils, especially the highways areas. Hence, when the M11 gets diverted, normally Essex should liaise with Hertfordshire to send traffic around Salford or on the ring roads. They don't, because they don't like talking to each other. Hence, the Ealing Bridge, which you may know, by the junction 7A, it's now 2 weeks at 7.5 tonnes, and yet they're putting 44 tonners over it regularly when they do the diversion of the M. That's because Essex and Hertfordshire don't talk to one another. And I know how difficult it is to speak to Essex highways anyway.
Okay. Well, look, let's take it away. It's a point heard. It's a point that's come up a number of times. We need to do something about it. As Alan said, let's take it away. We would like to engage you again in it, if it's all right, so that you can feed in all the information that you know, and then hopefully open it up to the village to get them involved. I'm very conscious of time. Next question. Sorry, Mick, you put your hand up.
Yeah, just a little bit of context before I ask my actual question. Jerkin stated in an email, 15th of July, that they will offer financial support to suitable parish projects should the Hammond Road planning application be approved. All the councillors have received a copy of that email. My question is, please can the council advise what they have done about identifying suitable projects?
Well, to be perfect, and I'll be absolutely frank here, not a lot. not a lot. And it's somewhat annoying because I've been championing this, well, champion's the wrong word, I've been banging on about it for the last 3 months. If we don't do something, you know, there's a company out there called Broad Oak Investment Company, or Community Investments, that could take it up if we're not careful. You know, they were in the frame before, we pulled them out of the frame. And if we don't get our act together, they could go back in. We need to get on with it, okay? You know, we've already set a meeting up with the village hall to see about their possible support, or support that could go their way. You know, we should be talking to the school, whoever. You know, I'm going to say this, there's £500,000 out there, okay? 150 will come our way regardless because of the CIL. The other 350 is good cause. In other words, it can be stopped any time. So we've got to get on with it.
I agree.
So just to answer from my respect, I've been liaising with the Scout group, and it's no secret that I've been talking about the Scout group and what can be done at the recreation ground. So for my part, that's what I've been working on, and that would be quite a sizable project. So is there a deadline for getting these projects?
Well,
Obviously there's a lot of work.
The deadline is not fixed, but it will be dependent on the Hammond Road planning application getting approved, and then the timescale it takes to get section 1 written. Because the information for the projects that we want to support, we need to go into that section 106.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I should have some detailed costings, or you know, sort of at least, you know, very good estimates, probably within about 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think we need to be putting forward ideas in the next couple of months, really, and they need to be costed and justified.
Well, I've got a discussion going on with the school governors around there. They've got a list of things in terms of the school and projects that they'd like to get involved in. And so I've asked them to try and share what that kind of priority list is in terms of good for the community, with new houses attracting new kids into the school, which is part of what they're trying to do. So as soon as I can meet with them post-holiday, I'm happy to feed that straight through.
I mean, on another point, and it's not for here, but what I'm going to suggest to this council is that the neighbourhood plan working group take on this responsibility, because not only do we know quite a lot about what is going on in terms of development and all the rest of it, we also, I mean, we have 9 people on that council, 5 councillors on that working group. There's 5 councillors and 4 others. We've got a good cross section, and I would like to see us, the parish council, give us the responsibility. Obviously, all the final decisions have got to come back to the council, but there's no reason why we shouldn't take that up and at least put forward exactly what those schemes are and some good costings for them. You know, so I'll be putting that forward, something that we can talk about at the next meeting. And in the meantime, we'll still carry on. As I say, I've already set a meeting up with the village hall, and any others that come forward, we'll do the same.
That's great.
Can I ask a question? Does this have to be done before the planning is agreed then?
No. I mean, just to put it in context, when Takeley went through, which was in April of 25, the S106 took 31 weeks to agree. In other words, planning permission, or the award of planning, wasn't given for 31 weeks after the planning committee approved it. But we mustn't stand on that, because that may not happen with us, you know.
Sorry, just Nick, are you all right with us putting a pin in it, as Alan said, so that we would potentially work with the planning group to try and identify everything that we need?
Yeah. Yeah, but timescales.
We'd be here. Chris, just
Sorry,
put it in.
question, but I will mention in passing in relation to this, the church is desperate for money. Just wanted to ask, under the contract between HBOSCC, Parish Council will be aware there was a contract made to make safe the area around the park. We haven't done anything with that area. It's now stinging at the city, so you can't go anywhere near it anyway. That contract was actually placed by the previous Parish Council. after a series of ROSPA reports, Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents, running back to 2022, I believe.
Yeah.
What I did put out a handout to invite parish councillors to the Green a few weeks ago, and thank you. A couple of councillors did attend that. That came up. It's just that, is there someone on the council we can liaise with to get this work pushed forward? So because we wanted to work in that desolate area, which we want to pull back, and we've got some really good ideas for gardening and various other things. So my question is, who do I liaise with on the council to see if this project can be completed?
Our delay has been that our clerk has been
I appreciate
off,
that.
and so getting information to the right people. I think Alan's been trying to create a kind of bridge and get some communication moving for now. I think in the instance, whilst we are moving through the admin, please send everything through. We have a fully operational clerk email address now that we've got. Jackie's kindly stepped in to help us get some control. So if you can liaise with the clerk, that would be really helpful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I just ask on that? I mean, I noticed that Village Green Matters is on there. Are we going to talk about the park?
We're going to talk about, I think
Good.
overall,
I'd
just
like to
touch on
obviously.
some of the conversations we've had before.
Good.
Probably two more questions, and then we'll have to move on. Maureen.
I'll be brief. I'm not being picky, and I don't like about it, because I'm sure, along with everybody else, we're quite happy that Spain won the World Cup. But I believe that the flagpole belongs to the parish council. And if there's a Spanish flag up there, that looks political, and I didn't think you could do that.
I loved it.
Yeah, everybody might know it.
The answer is it does belong to the parish council. We didn't know why flags are being changed and put up and down. It's something that we had agreed with the previous vice chair who had the flag, that he would put it up before the race and then would take it down and hand it on to Jamie, who's up just behind you. That didn't seem to happen quite the way that we wanted it to happen, and so we're just working through the control of the village flagpole. I can answer who put it up and who took it down because it was seen by a resident who called me and said, "Did you know X person was taking the Spanish flag down?" Yes.
But the flag that usually flies there
Is the parish council's flag.
Somebody else has ordered the parish council's property.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, but whether you've still got them, if you remember, we had a quiz night on Spain, and we had, must have been a dozen flags as tablecloths. So I presumed it would automatically be you, Tony, although you were away.
It wasn't.
No,
Just
I
for
appreciate
clarity of the video.
I appreciate it.
Sorry, last question, Mel.
Thank you. I've been around the parish councils for a while, so apologies if this is poorly managed. But my question is, HBOSCC have now had the village green for many months, if not a year. But we haven't seen any plans, we haven't seen any invitations to volunteer, we haven't seen any working groups. At least I haven't on Facebook. There's nothing coming through on magazine. So I wonder, I'm not sure what the relationship is between parish council and the charity, and how do we manage the charity backings within a community-led charity, really, and is the parish council able to do that?
That's a difficult question. Thank you. Anybody want to answer that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you know, Melanie, we had a meeting between the parish council and the HBOS, and all the parish council were invited to it, just to go over there and see what was being done, see what the plans were for the future, etc. And we did do a little report on it, which was circulated. My view is that we're two separate entities completely, but we've got to be joined. In other words, we've got to work together, because it's open to everybody. So we need that sort of commitment from the HBOSCC, which I believe they give us, that it's always going to be like that. That's how I see it.
Sorry, always going to be like.
us joined up together. So I think to answer from a at the moment is we've completed a cycle. Effectively, we've completed a cycle, and there's a piece and there's parts in the contract around what that looks like and how we take it forward. I think there's been a lot of change from a council perspective in the last 12 months, and we've probably not had our eye on HBO SCC and the relationship anywhere near as much as we need to. And that's something that, as we conclude year one and start year two, we'll just be looking to strengthen the relationship.
Can I just ask as a supplementary question then? Have you seen any indication from charity that they are going to engage with their local community and ask for feedback and direction and ideas for the development that they want to see on the screen?
I think you're asking the wrong people.
Well,
So
I'm asking them because they can see it.
If you've got questions for HBO, just put it on our website and I'll answer them. We will be issuing a leaflet which we prepared, which goes out in the parish magazine in September, and we will have a public meeting. But there's been a stop in our progress as well, remember, because we've been put on hold for a number of months because of a potential JR. Yeah, we'll do what we said we will do. And I don't know, we endeavour to have a good communication with the parish council, and we started to do that, I think. And there has been a big change.
It's a change.
And I think it is all about communicating and communicating with the village as well. So I take that point. But I don't know, you can't tell us what we should do in terms of communication.
No,
I was asking what communication the parish council can tell you.
We had a meeting just recently to say
I mean, sorry, I was going to say contractually, the only thing the parish council can ask for is a copy of the charity commission report, nothing more. But as Chris just said, I'm sure he will go a lot further than that to make sure, not just the parish council, the community, to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on.
I'm going to move on. 2675, the annual governance and accounting.
Chair, sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Could we please change the order of the minutes to move the appointment of the clerk before this? Is that possible to do? I wasn't sure why the appointment of the locum clerk was after the AGAR point. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, 100%.
I was advised that the chair and the vice chair will be signing off the finance. I haven't had sight of it.
Right.
So if I were appointed before that, it would make me somehow responsible and to liaise with the external auditor on it.
Okay.
I have had no
that makes sense.
no contact with the internal or external auditor on this.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So the annual governance and accountability return. So the first one is to receive the annual report and consider and approve the recommendations of the internal auditor. And Kerry, I would love you to guide us on this, given the amount of work that you've done.
I've only received the final update this evening.
Okay.
Because nothing had been done, that the internal auditors hadn't received anything at all. So it's literally been a case of they've been guiding me what they need, and all I've been able to send them is what is available on council records. So I have done that. They have, part of them, I've been in touch with somebody called Michelle, who's been completing our, what they call Form 3. And it's been audited by Shelley Boydell, who we appointed earlier in the year. I have the documentation here. I don't really know how you want to do this. I can pass it round, or you have a copy of it, Jackie, don't you, as well?
Do.
I don't really understand what I need to say about it, so perhaps you can guide us a little bit.
So what has happened is a company called BB Business Associates has carried out the internal audit, and the internal auditor is Shelley Boydell. She has given a report on how all of the criteria in the 6-page external audit form that you would see on the website for previous years, and has then given guidance on how the parish council should complete that. She also has completed section 2 of it. She has not, I notice, given you her own completed form for the internal auditor's page, but I think that's just because you haven't sent it to her. So you've got 6 pages of this form. The page 6 is the one that the external auditor fills in at the end. Page 5, the accounting statements. That's the one that your internal auditor has completed for you. So what you need to do, you've got that on your agenda as the section 2. So that's the part C. She's completed for you. Part B is blank, but she's given you guidance for it. Both of those need to be agreed to be signed, and we can actually go through the paperwork just to save your audience sort of sitting waiting while we fumble about with bits of paper. While you agree to sign them, we can actually then sit and make sure that those are signed before you leave tonight. Your external auditor has said, because you don't have a clerk presently that is able to do this, an RFO, that where the RFO would sign it ahead of the meeting, you'll have to say that nothing was filled in ahead of the meeting, but then the chair and vice chair can sign that form. So you've got this one already, you've got a copy of that one, yeah?
Yeah. So
that one I've also got a copy of, so you can sign one and then keep another one spare for you. And if you sign it, I can then take it back and scan it, unless you want to scan it. It's up to you. The section 1 is that the internal auditor has answered questions for you. But I think we'll have to work through that if we go through that bit at the end to make sure that you respond to what you feel has been met and not met. Most of the things have been. The internal auditor has only picked out a couple of bits that where things have not, the inspection has not been provided in the correct time scale. Your auditor has also completed part of this form here, which allows the members of the public to inspect your accounts.
Yeah.
Now that's later than it normally is, because it's meant to include the first 2 weeks in July. And I remember I spoke to Councillor Wilson about this, seeing if you could have it. Now, you need to have the access to your documents. Now, this says that you have. You're just going to have to provide what you can, and if not, then people will have to come back when you can make it available. This will need to be filled in also later today, and I've got 2 copies of it, so that you can keep one to put on the notice board, and then I can take one away to scan that.
Yeah, I think it's dated so that it goes on the notice board tomorrow.
Exactly. So I've done 2 photocopies of you for you, so that you can do all of that. But you will also need to then send your internal auditor a page of this to fill in, unless she feels she doesn't need to fill it in because she's done it separately. Usually what you do is you send it and then they fill in the actual form, so it's on the actual pro forma here. So we can go through that at the end. What you need to do for the agenda item is to agree what you're planning to do. So you just need to go through A, B, C and D. That's the explanation of variances. You've got a copy of that already. There's another one that turn around, because you need to agree that. So that has been taken from the records that your clerk gave to the internal auditor, and so the internal auditor has then provided the information required.
So again, just apologies because I didn't get all of this until
Not at the moment.
late this evening. So.
Yeah, and I didn't see it till
And you
late
didn't
this
see it
evening,
either.
so I've just copied it
like I said,
on
we're
my way
all
in.
not completely blind to it.
But you do need to do it for it to be within the timescale, because you need to minute that you have received the internal audit report. There's a copy of it, there are the recommendations here. I mean, I can read the whole of this out to you if that helps you to feel that you're not signing things completely blind. This is a copy, if I can pass that round to all the councillors as well so that you can see it. But it can say your internal audit has seen all your documentation and so has completed it on the basis of your own documents. So while the other councillors are reading through that, if I just go through the accounting records, so this will then relate to your annual governance statement section 1, which is the report to which is your internal audit report, and then from that you fill in how effective you feel that you have been on that basis. Okay, so do the accounts accord with the information in section 2 of the annual return? Yes, that is met. Will the council give members of the public the opportunity to inspect and raise questions on the accounts? And is evidence of notice to be provided? So this has not been provided in the timescale, but you did get the extension of time by the external auditor,
yeah.
and you'll just send in your new dates. You will fail on that, but you still need to provide that opportunity of the 6 weeks to members of the public. And what I would suggest is that either the chair or the vice chair gives their contact details for the public, for the members of the public to contact you, because you will have access to that information and I won't. Did the council correctly provide for the period of the exercise of public rights for the previous year? Yes, you did. Has the council responded positively to the issues that were raised in the previous internal audit? Yes, all issues were taken on board. Are the significant variances in the annual return explained? Yes, because that's what's been filled in, what's going around being circulated now. Has an asset register been submitted up to date and concurring with the annual report section 2 box 9? Yes, it has.
Can I pop something in there? When I spoke to them, they said that last year and previously the assets have been recorded as a depreciated figure, and they said that that was actually not what should be happening.
That's quite normal. They're going over, transferring over, and Takeley did it for this year.
So what they've done is
what you'll need to do is you'll have to have they already done that? Have they resubmitted them?
What they've done is they've put a note in the variances to say that disposals totalling 53,400 roughly, when the Village Green lease was assigned to HBO SCC, and they've listed what was included there. And what they've actually done is they've re-quoted the figure, so they've explained it in their variances.
That's slightly different though. What you'll need to do is you're going by insurance values at the moment that then increase in value each time. So what you'll need to do for your next year's audit is you'll have to redeclare both years at purchase values, and then from then on go forward. Yes. That's quite normal.
She suggested because it was in such a muddle this year, and we're late anyway, do it that way.
I mean, you can do it if that's what she's done on the form, but I not having seen them, I couldn't say whether they're purchase values or not. I can perhaps go through that with you after, but I don't know. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering, on one form, you've got the assets in 31st of March 25 as 67,741, and then 31st of March 16,103. And on this form, it says 67,741 and then 61,505 with a variance of 9.21%.
It's 16,103.
So this coloured form is wrong.
This one.
Yeah. Well, the external auditor will come back with any queries on that. And
I
then,
think
and then
you're
they
right.
can go back to the person that paid to do it.
Because that's only
Those
showing a
queries.
9% variance for the
Yeah.
depreciation, which
Yeah.
would be, but that's the first form is
Yeah, as I say, the figures are
60 to
completely- the figures
16.
It
are
might
different on this
be-
form than this
It
one.
might be
This
that,
one is the later one.
it might be that you will need to redeclare next year for both years.
Yeah.
So you just restate, you just literally write on it, restate it and put the like for like next year. So that form has to be like for like. If she's changed the other one, she may well get picked up on it and then she'll have to answer that to the external audit, but that won't be for tonight. The risk assessment, you haven't updated your risk assessment, which was meant to have been done in November of last year. So on that question, when you go to that question, you would say no on that one. Is there evidence the council considers what legal powers it is using when contemplating and undertaking activities? That's satisfied. The council has the council adopted financial regulation and standard orders. Yes, that's been noted and it's on your website. Is there a council minute recording the precept decision? Date and minute numbers been checked? Yes, they've got all of that. Precept requirement resulting from an adequate budget that is also met. Progress against budget regularly monitored? Yes, it has been. There's evidence of budget reviews and sufficient reserves available. Has a separate record of VAT being kept in the accounts? Yes, it has. Have separate record been put in for section 137 payments? So that's payments to local groups and charities that is covered under a separate legislation. No payments of that nature were made. There's one about bank reconciliations, that's been met. Payments and receipts that are recorded correctly, that's been met and been checked. Salaries, evidence of P60, PAYE and everything else. Spot checks for the statements, that's been checked. The next one has only been partially met. That is about, there'll be a new question here, which is number 10. Have you put place arrangements for an effective IT and data management in accordance with the proper practices during the year under review? Now that one you're going to have to put no, because your internal auditor has said it's only partially met because there's no IT policy, and but it does meet some of it because you've got you've changed to the .gov domain and you've got councillor email addresses that are also .gov, so it's partially not met. So you're going to have to say no because it's not completely met. Was the internal auditor provided with access to all the documents requested? Yes. Were the contact details supplied? Councillor contact details have been provided due to the clerk being on long-term absence. And queries were responded to quickly. So this additional notes here, it says asset values should be recorded at purchase price as per good practice guidance. Therefore, the recommendation is to amend next year's values to enable continuation of purchase price. Okay, so she's saying do it next year and restate both years. That's as much as I can explain to you right now. And then you just need to have a resolution to sign the relevant forms tonight and for them those to be sent off to the external auditor. So for me to take the lead on these. So A is to receive the annual internal audit report, consider and approve the recommendations of the internal auditor. I have a proposer and a seconder. Seconded?
and that's, sorry, this is to receive.
Yep. So we need to have a resolution for each of these points. Okay. And all agreed.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I'll be
100%
honest.
sure, I'm not.
I'm not really sure what I'm signing up to, and having just got this information to digest, and the
You need
fact,
to sign this tonight at a meeting, otherwise you're not going to meet your deadline.
okay, but
And what
I
happens
won't,
if we don't?
I won't sign something that I don't agree with, and that I am not clear that the information that's gone into it is correct, whether it's been audited or not, because there's all sorts of things that I think are wrapped up in this that we need to make sure we're absolutely clear on what we're signing.
Are we not trusting our local clerk to advise us
No,
on
that's
this?
not what we're saying at all.
That wasn't into the
Well,
debate
I mean,
at all.
that's one reason why I've not been appointed until after
Yes,
this,
yeah,
because I
that's-
can't really
no,
advise
no,
you
I
on
understand.
something I also haven't seen.
No.
However, you have paid someone to do this for you in order for you to meet the deadline.
Can I
And-
ask, sorry to interrupt, can I ask what the implications are if we don't sign? Because I don't,
You don't meet the deadline.
yeah, but what does that mean
You
though?
then have to set another meeting up in order to go through all of this process again, which you can do, but obviously you'll need to speak to your external auditor.
I personally would be happier doing that, I've got to be honest. I just think it's
I
such a
need,
muddle.
for me, I
It's
need a
such a
conversation. I
muddle.
think whether it's the
The first one at the moment is that whether you're accepting the internal auditor's report, which I've read out.
Yep. So that's fine. I understand that we've paid somebody that, for me, if we paid Shelley Boydell to do that, we agreed we were going to pay for that. She's given us a report around what she thinks we've met and not met. Do I agree that that's acceptable?
So we can agree.
Yes. It's the moving forward.
It's the approving the section 1 and section 2
It's
of
the
the
actual
accounting
approval of it
statements.
that I just don't feel comfortable with.
Okay. Can I add an E in here that you
Yes.
have your go with the publication of the residents' rights to inspect the accounts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your internal auditor has suggested the date starting from tomorrow for 6-week period. Yes, you've not included the first 2 weeks of July, which means that you've not fully met it, but at least you are showing willing to be able to show your residents that, and then that will go in your favour when you go to your external auditor. You're going to have to set up another meeting to agree all the other documents. And obviously I will then be appointed and can advise you to some fashion, but I'll have to put a disclaimer in that I've not been party to any of the financial records. So if we
I
just
think
do a defer.
would like to with everyone. I'm fine with opening it up to the public to let them see records,
100%.
no problem.
Yeah.
So if we're going to defer B, C and D, and then you'll just have to come up with a date for the next meeting and then liaise with the external auditor to extend beyond the 31st of July, which is your deadline at the moment. Yeah? Okay, and then we're going to put an E on here to approve dates for the notice of public rights and publication. And then the dates are the 23rd of July to the 3rd of September. So do I have a proposer and a seconder for that?
Am I proposing that?
No, second that.
You don't have to first propose the amendment to the proposals.
I've asked the chair to add it. I can add in there that I've asked the chair to add that.
Can I just say, Kerry, I know you've worked incredibly hard, like for days.
I mean,
and
if I'd
days.
been able to
And I
circulate it sooner,
Yeah,
I
and
would have done.
And I hope you don't take this as any,
Absolutely not.
no, because I know you've worked incredibly hard.
So
Thank
from my perspective, it was just I got emails from them asking for information. Had to trawl through what I could to find it and send it back. Today I had some queries on it, and it wasn't I didn't get it finalised until 6 o'clock, which
I just don't want this just to
no,
to
it's absolutely fine. But I can tell you who you would need to liaise with at PKF. Would that be yourself, Jackie, that would do that then?
No, you'll be liaising with PKF because you'll be signing off the forms.
Okay.
And there's a separate contact details form. I can give you. I can make
I
sure
know
that you've
who
got all
we've
the
got.
stuff that you know. There's actual contact form that you need to fill in as well when you send this back. It will have your contact details on. It's been given there in the guidance, but she hasn't given you the form. But I can give that to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So posed by Councillor Wilson. Is it Ambler?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just getting the names.
No, that's
Okay,
fine.
seconded by Councillor Ambler. All in favour of just the publication of the rights for the members public to view the accounts? So, resolved and unanimous.
That's this one. That one.
Yes, it is, yeah. I didn't see that in her blunt. Okay, right, now, I have sent this form to you, I guess I sent it to you. Okay, right, okay. One of the things I didn't print off was that.
Absolutely fine.
I am happy to leave the room while you look at it.
Put it on your screen.
Yeah, yeah, I did a PDF of it. Dated.
Just have a quick look.
No, that's not it. So it's dated yesterday. Okay, so that's it. If I leave that with you and then I go stand up there and you just call me back here.
So 2676, appointment of locum clerk. So to consider the fee quote that we haven't received, but it's in front of me right now. So the local clerk would be considered at an hourly rate of £32 an hour, inclusive of travel and expenses, effectively from the 16th of July 2026. And the three key deliverables on that would be to monitor the parish clerk email account and action any correspondence, to support the parish council meetings when required, and to liaise with the chairman and councillors and to advise on the process where appropriate.
So, so she won't be an employee, she'll be like a subcontractor?
Like a
Does it work?
subcontractor
Yeah,
that will pay
yeah.
on an hourly rate. Yes.
Yeah, so there's like no holidays or anything like that
No,
involved? No,
it's just
yeah,
on the hours that
perfect.
she works for us as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to
Well,
propose
she's
that.
doing a lot of work for Tately already, so we're very lucky actually.
I'm happy to propose that.
I've got no objections.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
I'm just saying I'm happy with that.
Kerry?
So is our clerk on statutory sick pay?
Well, I can't disclose that in public.
Hmm?
I can't disclose anything.
No,
about
I'm
that.
just
Yeah.
saying
I
that,
think the two pieces.
you
She's
know,
sick.
we're ending up paying her salary.
An employee, so you will have to do some form of contract employment with that way. Can it be like a self-employed contractor?
As a locum.
Yeah.
Okay, well if we're in agreement, let's pick up and we'll make sure from
Yeah.
an HR
I was
perspective.
going to say, I was going to go through CAB, it's in there, I'm not that copy here, but.
That's fine, that's fine.
I can sort that out.
We'll make sure that we pick
Yeah.
that up, but that's fine. Would anyone just ask Jackie if she could come back in?
Voted.
Oh, sorry, man. So can we,
I propose it.
I'll second it.
can we vote on
I'm
it?
sure
please?
we'll all vote for it.
Done. Yes, please. We need the help. Proposer was Councillor Ambler, seconded by Councillor Fisher.
Can I propose another swap around? Rather than sending everyone out and everyone coming back in again?
Yes.
Can we move co-option after?
So we do, so move co-option down to do
Yeah,
Village Green first.
yeah, because otherwise everyone's got to go out and then come back.
If that makes sense. Yes.
I just didn't want your residents hanging around.
No, I think that's right. So we'll do, so, okay, so we'll hold on 2677 co-option of councillors and we'll move to 2678 Village Green. So to receive an update on matters relating to the Village Green and the maintenance contract, and then to agree the annual payment to HBO SCC, the invoice received through to Parish Clerk for 9,600.
For what?
Just, I think
We're talking about the 9.6 first?
so I think we obviously had the report that you circulated, just in respect of following the visit, having a look around and finding out where we were. There was a discussion at the last meeting just to try and understand some of the, was there going to be the report to the Charities Commission, etc. And I know there were a couple of other questions which, Kerry, I think you raised a couple of questions on Village Green matters as well that we just said we needed to talk about. And I know it was in your absence last time.
It was to do with the maintenance contract, actually, because I know that, Alan, you met with Chris and you gave us brief notes about what was said. I've looked at the contract and there's some pieces that I don't believe as a council we have yet seen. So clause 14 related to the charity putting forward an annual report which will include as a minimum, just reading it, a report of its performance according to the obligations under the lease. I don't believe we have had sight of that.
Was there a timescale on that? I can tell you now there wasn't. In other words, when the report is done, have you done a report to the Charity Commission yet, Chris?
We will have done our annual report, so...
If you do, you owe us a copy.
Yeah, provided one of the councillors will have a copy tomorrow. I'm going to send you the copy through you. So it's available on Charities Commission online. I'm very happy to do it through. And I can't remember the anniversary when we do that report off the top of my head. Come back.
I thought it was the anniversary of it actually transferring to you.
No, I had a look on
That's the Charity Commission's.
Charity Commission. It's due in November, and I didn't see one for November 25.
No.
There wasn't a PDF attached, so I didn't actually. I did look, and I couldn't find one.
So I don't believe that a report has been sent into Parish Council.
So you're asking for the report for November 2025, which is with the Charities Commission.
It says the company shall make available to the Parish Council an annual charity report which will include as a minimum a report of its performance according to the obligations under the lease. My understanding of that was that it would be annually following the transfer, but I haven't seen anything.
The annual transfer was week before last, so...
Under clause 8, the company shall maintain appropriate policies to meet its obligations under the lease, including policy documents for safeguarding, risk assessments, environmental management, complaints, fundraising, etc. And under 9, The company will maintain appropriate insurance of not less than currently held by the parish council.
Are you referring to the contract? Are you referring to the lease?
I'm referring to the contract.
It doesn't ask for the HBOCC for us to give you copies of our insurance, does it?
Well, it's asking for you to for the charity to maintain.
Well, we've done all that.
Pardon?
We
have
need to
done
see,
that.
we need to see copies of it.
But we haven't
It
had.
doesn't say in the contract you do need some copies of it, I don't think.
Well,
It's asking us to make sure
it's
we can
inferred.
perform these.
Yeah, but it's inferred.
Sorry?
It's inferred. If a contract says that you need to maintain suitable insurance, we need to understand that you're maintaining suitable insurance. You can't just do that by word of mouth. It would need to just be
Well,
evidence.
I'm happy to show you our insurance certificates. We just reviewed it, second year.
I think it's just evidence based. If we just
What was that before?
if we tick it off, it's evidence
Okay,
based.
this is the reason why I've invited you to the meeting on the fact, invited the whole parish council. Some, you know, somebody chose not to
I
come.
wasn't
It
chosen.
was good notice, actually, to have these conversations. So, happy to have those conversations. You can run through them, I can provide them with you as we're going.
Absolutely. If you can provide them, that's fantastic,
You know,
isn't it?
we can, sorry.
Then I think there's a tree survey under the scope of works, and also confirmation that public access requirements are being met. That was part of this.
Copies of the tree surveys that we've carried out if you require them, and they've all been done for the trees at Dunmer Road, on the village green, etc. Surveys that were completed in the spring and work that needs to be carried out in the autumn.
Well, that's great. I think, as Ant said, we, as parish council,
It's on file. It's
excited of it. Yeah.
absolutely fine.
I think that's the easiest way, isn't it?
Yeah, very happy to support.
Yeah.
Very happy to support.
Yeah. Just make it an annual thing now that
Yeah.
they come over.
To be honest, I kind of thought that that would be part of your report pack, and I know that you met, which was great. Unfortunately, I couldn't make that date, and I kind of thought that that would then follow up, to be honest, because of what it says in here.
No, thank you, Kerry. Appreciate that, and obviously appreciate this is our first year. So
Yeah.
Similarly to your being first
Absolutely.
year, we need to sign a little bit. That's great. Thank you very much.
Oh, I've got a couple of questions. If that's all right. I was just going back through in terms of the procedures that were followed for the transfer and the contract. In the minutes of the EGM from 23rd of June 25, the minutes state that this council, this council hereby resolves to instruct the council's solicitors, Burkitt's, to provide the assignment documents, and for the council and solicitors as required to proceed with, sign and execute the assignment of the Village Green lease. And then the lease was signed the next day. I appreciate we've had a huge, you know, the great file deletion of 26, but I can't find, not so that I should know, has anyone, have we got evidence that Burkitt's did that? Because if we voted it through on a minute in the meeting, my understanding is that that should have taken place, but I don't think there's any evidence that I've seen, certainly that Burkitt's were involved in the execution of that lease.
I haven't seen any evidence. Not on SharePoint. Not on SharePoint.
It just seems unusual that if the lease was signed the next day, so I'd like to see evidence that Burkitt's were there as instructed and voted through by the council. I've got another question. It also states that there's going to be a separate agreements motion. This council accepts the unanimous recommendation of the Village Green Committee and resolves to facilitate or proceed to obtain legally binding agreements between the relevant parties to the following additional outline terms. Such agreements are to be separate and distinct from the assignment of the lease. One, if for any reason the assignee should fail to be a going concern or decide to surrender the lease, the parish council will first be given the opportunity to assume the lease on the same and current terms. I haven't seen that.
Those documents have been signed. I've signed them.
Oh, no,
So they will be in your record somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we've had the great file deletion of 26, so,
Council's records don't exist.
I can get you copies of them.
that would be
That's
lovely.
probably the easiest
Yeah,
thing.
I was going to say, that would be great, thank you.
Sorry, Vanessa, just explain this file deletion of the 26th. Are you saying that previous parish councils or the parish clerk have deleted files?
I'm saying that a vast amount of documents and emails have disappeared from the council's system in April and May 2026.
We're currently working directly. We're currently working directly with Microsoft to try and see if they can perform some kind of recovery, because the files, what I can say is the files were not only deleted into the recycling bin, if you like, they were then deleted from the recycling bin out of the subsequent bin, so they'd vanished.
So isn't the IT provider ultimately responsible for that?
We wrote to the council's IT provider and received a letter back to say that they actually had no links to the parish council at all in terms of IT support. So we're currently working with Microsoft to rectify our IT systems and understand, which is, I think, the offer of having copies of all of those would be very helpful, because then we've got it rather than guessing that it's there.
So the next thing that I can't find is the minutes state this council resolves to provide a certified copy of the assignment to the landlord and to obtain any covenants that the councillors were advised that this was a procedural requirement, so if we could get a copy of that as well, please. The minutes also state that transparency notice motion, this council notes the advice of the Village Green Committee that the negotiated contract value is below the threshold. It approves the committee issuing a transparency notice in accordance with the Procurement Act 2023 and the Procurement Regulations 2024. Councillor Artist advised that it was not thought necessary because the contract sum is under threshold. However, if after taking advice it is found to be necessary, it will be submitted to the government website. And I can't find any evidence that that advice was sought, because at the time I did advise that the Procurement Regulations 2023 didn't apply, and it was the Procurement Regulations 2015 because of when the procedure was started. So I'd like to see if any advice was sought, and on the basis of that advice, what happened after that. Thank you. The signed contract states in 18E that supporting reserves, bonds or guarantees of performance have been provided. I would have thought they should have been attached to the contract. We know from the AGAR report that we've just looked at that there's no reserves that have been deposited that the council is aware of. I can't find a bond, so I'd be grateful if we could see that. That needed to be provided prior to the execution of the contract.
These are all legal matters that are usually not taken in public. Anything like this, you would normally take out of the public domain.
We'll take it out of the public domain then. Okay, do it
separately
afterwards.
in a private session.
Fine, we'll take it into the private session then, that's fine.
Well, why don't you make a list and circulate it to the council, but also circulate it to HBC and let them look into it?
Yeah, well, it's all in the minutes and the contract, but yeah, no, that's fine.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? At least then
You'll have
tick all the
you may have
boxes.
copies that we don't.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I'll finish this in private session then.
Okay. So, let's finish the Village Green piece in private session.
Oh, so on the back of that, I was going to propose an amendment to the, to say that we would defer any decision on payment until we've received all of the documentation.
I'm not sure you can do that. I mean, the payment, your invoice was the 1st of June.
Yeah.
We're now the 22nd of July, and we're only just discussing. You know, quite frankly, it's getting a bit beyond the pale, isn't it? You know, to now come up with all of these things.
Well, we didn't see an invoice on the 1st of June. It wasn't
Did you
shared.
put it in on the 1st of June?
That's what I'm saying, as councillors.
I sent you a.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it that you sent me, but we hadn't
been sent in advance of that yet.
we hadn't seen it.
Well, I don't think,
We've had
bearing
a
in
lot.
mind
I mean, Alan, we've had a lot.
the discussion that we need to have, I think we need to have that whole discussion then in private session.
We should have this discussion in private session.
Fair enough.
I think.
Fair enough.
If you guys are happy to do that, we should have this discussion in private session.
What about the pond?
We
Do you want that in private session? Because there's nothing private about
No,
that.
we can talk about the pond.
Okay. I mean, as you know, a contract was, a specification was raised, and it was approved, I think, November of last year. Why it was ever approved, I've got no idea, because it's really not fit for purpose, both in the way it was produced in terms of what was in it that didn't make a lot of sense, and the fact that the contract states that we have to do the work in terms of, in accordance with the Rossiter report, okay, 2025. The work that was actually ordered and instructed has got no bearing on that whatsoever. And just a typical example of that is, I think it says replace a couple of rotten posts. What the actual what the specification says is replace 120 metres of fencing with new dug-in rabbit-proof fencing. Now, it obviously seemed at the time that whoever wrote that, and I'm pretty sure it was one of our ex-councillors, was obviously looking to get the parish council to pay for things that contractually they were not bound to do. Okay, what I'm surprised at, it ever got to where we actually instructed a contractor to go ahead with it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I brought all this up 2 months ago. I don't know, maybe 3 months ago when I first saw it. When I first saw that, because I was asked to look at the pedestrian entrance and say, is that approvable? Well, again, I came with the same thing, you know, install concrete. Thickness, specification, sub-base, no detail whatsoever. And I've tried to, you know, we spent a lot more money than we should have done on a village entrance because people prior to us got it wrong, completely wrong. And it's cost us. What we mustn't do is get it wrong now. So what I'm suggesting is, because there are works in there that the HBO SCC may want to go ahead with, okay? And I'm suggesting that we do our specification, write it, give it to HBO SCC and say, okay, yes, we'd like a gate into that area. It's going to be an open area. At the moment, there's no gate. And there's nothing in that to produce a gate, okay, which seems a bit dark. If you're going to have access to the pond, you don't want to be climbing over the fence. So it makes sense to me to look at our contract, okay, or our obligations, and then talk to HBO SCC, and between us, come up with a contract that we can then go forward with a contractor, and HBO SCC pick up their element of the works, and we pick our element. Because at the moment, it's absolutely not fit for purpose. Yeah. So that to me is obviously the next step that we should be doing.
The others?
Yeah, I agree with Alan, the specification, because I mean, I found the Rossiter report, it took me a while, but I managed to dig it out. And the Rossiter report bears absolutely no relation to that specification at all. And I think we've already spent an extra £20,000 on the entrance that wasn't in the budget and wasn't the procedure was not followed properly at all. So also we need to try and work out how we can recoup some of that money. And I can't see why we should pay over the odds for a spec that isn't in the report.
No, I mean, I would go on to say that this sort of, it talks about a couple of posts. Well, I've identified 19, plus corner posts, which are a lot bigger, etc. In other words, if we're going to do the job, we've got to do it properly. There's no point in handing it over as, you know, we're down to replace rotten posts. Obviously, it's all moved on. You know, we were supposed to have had this work done by December. It's now 7 months on from that. I'm not suggesting they all went rotten in that 7 months, but we've got to get it right. But also, you know, HBO SCC are talking about moving part of the fence further in, which will be less work. But it's a bit pointless us doing our work, and then they come along and say, ah, yeah, we're now going to take that out, and we're going to move it.
I'm in agreement with you. As long as the other councillors are, I'm in complete agreement. It's a logical and sensible thing to do.
This is a discussion that you had though, was it?
No.
With you and Chris?
No, we've talked about the fact there's work to be done here.
Yeah.
I've not talked to Chris. He knows that that specification is way beyond what we were contractually bound to do. Yeah, but I haven't talked to him about what work he would like to. I don't know.
I actually sent Alan the Rossiter report of what I was concerned about, because that contract was nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with me and to do with the trustees. It was a contract that was done between the parish council and a contractor. So I said, well, what it says in our contract with you is that the Rossiter report safety factors need to be put right. And I think he said to me, well, I don't really know what that Rossiter report is, because you had difficulty finding it as well. And I managed to find it because we had that discussion before.
Well, we actually found an even later one.
Do what's on the report. I'm not really interested in anything else.
Yeah.
Well, but what's the point?
No, I agree. There's no point spending money on this. Make it less than, you know, because if you were going to bring frost reports for 19 postings, it will only come 10. There's no need to buy another 9.
Well, unfortunately, what the Rossiter report says, replace the rotten posts. And I've identified 19 intermediate posts which are rotten. Therefore, they need to be replaced.
I think we're in agreement.
So, and to be honest, we'll still come out, in my opinion, less than the contract sum, because we won't be replacing 120 metres of fencing. You know, with rabbit-proof fencing, which we have talked about, and Chris doesn't want rabbit-proof. What's the point of rabbit-proof fencing?
Well, look, let's
So a conversation, to my mind, there needs to be had with what ROSPA recommend, which now that we've found the ROSPA report, because I didn't find it either, and thank you, Vanessa, for finding it, is a conversation about how much it would cost to do exactly what ROSPA says and no more, but also at the same time involving you guys so that we're not... Absolutely. So,
it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question as a member of the public? I'm really sorry for the house on the video, but as an observer to this in my view is a real opportunity for council and HBOSCC to reset. It's a real opportunity for you guys to show the public that you're both working in the interest of the public and as wholly why you're doing this, in the interest of the village, etc. And it's a really good opportunity to prove how you can collaborate and cooperate and all that kind of stuff, and come up with a really good combined solution between both of you that satisfies everyone. I'm hoping that'll be the result of this, but you know, you can already feel little bits of tension and things that I think we need to knock on the head really.
I believe me, all I want is approval of the council. I've been accused, okay, of negotiating with HBOSCC.
Yeah,
negotiating. We're not doing that. What we are trying to do, and what Chris and I have been trying to do, is work together.
I'm trying to look forward. I understand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's certainly no animosity.
I know no detail of
Yeah.
what I've heard in years, so I'm just saying we need to look forward and try.
I think that's what we're saying, isn't it, right now?
We're all in the same
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Everybody's in the same
Hopefully, by the time, I mean, the contractor, if the stone contractor stays on board, he cannot do it until September, which gives us time to get it right. Okay, it might need to be approved at the next Because obviously I'm going to be coming back, and I hope you're in agreement that I can go away and get some numbers on this. We might want to even get other contractors back, because it was tendered with 3 contractors. In theory, because it's changed so much, we should be asking all 3 to re-tender. But I want to be able to come back to you and say, okay, these are the 3 quotes. This is the bit that HBO SCC want, and that's the cost of it. Approve it.
Well, that feels logical.
Yeah.
That's my view.
Yeah.
I won't speak on behalf of the rest of the council. So we're in
I
agreement.
think that's what
Good.
we're saying.
Good.
Okay. So we will move on. Let's go on to co-option of councillors. 2677, co-option of councillors. Consider the applications received by the advertised closing date of the 3 council vacancies. Do you want me to read out? Would you read out the statement? It's close, right?
Can I make a point here? We have 3 vacancies and we have 3 councillors. Okay, and I don't doubt we've all read the, the resumes that came in. Do we really need for everybody to go and then go over all this? Is it such a...
It's not a requirement. It's something that you've previously agreed that that's how you go about these things. But it's absolutely not a requirement. It can all be done in public session, and you can ask questions of anyone that has applied before making your decision. You can make that decision by a show of hands. You can make a decision by writing it down on a piece of paper if that's what you prefer to do. And so you've agreed a process up front that removes you from the public, but you're not.
But it was
bound.
a process that we inherited. I don't think it was
You're
ever
not bound.
voted through.
You're not bound
I mean,
to doing that.
Are any of us bound to say, no, we don't want you? That's really where I'm coming from.
No, you can say that though.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You've got 3 people here, but if you don't want to accept those, any one or all 3 of those, you don't have to. You're not obliged to, because this is a co-option, so it's your decision.
But other people who propose to be co-opted have been in public because they're concerned as well. That's the other thing.
Sounds to me like private would be sensible.
Yeah,
Well, that's what we agreed, so only seems fair. Didn't mean to put it on people at the last minute.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
So we'll continue then with what we'd originally proposed in private session. Yes?
So you need to vote to go into private session then.
We voted.
Well, we've got the desks here already
Huh?
for them.
Yeah, so if we
I
done
think
that,
that-
I could
bring
have
them
done this
on.
at the beginning.
Can I say bring them on, please?
Yes,
I propose a vote that we move to a
Never
private
done
session.
that. Yeah, I'll second that.
Can we vote on it, please?
Something we got.
Yes.
Craig, so
All agree for that, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not in agreement with that, as far as I'm concerned. We won't have a disagreement over it. I don't see the point.
So
The 3 candidates stay.
Individually, if you want to do it totally private. So it depends on how you read this, really. My reading of it is that you do it individually. It says that applicants will be invited to attend individually for interview.
Previous chair for the policy, which was never voted in, so we just kind of adopted it because
Yeah.
it's what we've been given.
Yeah, but it has
Neil,
been
it's
stated
very
that-
nice of you to see you.
See you
Take
now.
care. Thank you very much.
Don't forget, if you remember that name or know that name,
I'll send a WhatsApp.
we are actually going to change the policy.
I don't remember
Are we not?
new
Of,
council.